How you doing, guys? My name is Diego. Well, I'm here at Tim's house. He lives here in Chapala area. He's one of the people that I know, people who actually moved here into Mexico many years ago. And, we're here to know a little bit more about how a local expat is being here for many years, hear his experience and everything. We want to see how he lives here. If he's happy or he wants to run back, or we want to see. So, welcome, Tim.
Thank you.
First of all, Tim, how do you decide to move to the area of Jalisco, basically?
Ooh, it's a long story. I was living in Chicago,
Okay.
and I was really burnt out from my work. I was a professional musician, and I had a business, and I decided I had to take a year off. And just by chance, I found Guadalajara, and I thought, ooh, that sounds cool.
All right.
Guadalajara, the sound of it. And so, back then, the internet, this is 25 years ago,
Right.
1999. So the internet was just starting, and it was AOL.
AOL, right.
Yeah, AOL.
The dial-up, right?
It's right, it was dial-up. But I found
Wow.
a language school because I didn't speak
Excellent.
Spanish in Guadalajara. And I just got on a plane, and I came here for a year,
All right.
and I never went back.
Wow.
Yeah, I went back to sell my house, all my belongings, close my
Yes.
company,
All right.
quit my jobs as a professional musician, and
Right.
I've never looked back. It was probably
Excellent.
the best decision I've made in my life.
Wow, excellent. Well, as you can see, many people that I have experience talking to, they kind of relate at the similar story. Some people come for vacation and they probably go back once and sell everything, and then just come back and just live here. And the special thing about Tim is that he's been here for quite a while, 25 years.
At 1999,
1999. Can you imagine, guys? Wow.
last century.
All right. Can you imagine? Yes. So he's not just any expat that moves here and retires. He actually still do a lot of things. He's a music teacher, singing teacher, correct? Okay. And he works, he still works and retire at the same time, I guess, like semi-work, right? A little bit.
Right.
So, it's a very cool experience because you can see how somebody who literally come from, Chicago, you're talking about like a long way. Oh my God, different weather and everything. And, he came here and fell in love. And, well, now he speaks Spanish and everything, right? Señor?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Muy bien, muy bien. So did you take Spanish classes, or did you just learn, like you said, like throwing yourself to the
No,
fire?
I did go to school for the first month.
All right.
That was my plan. So I went to 20 classes.
Wow, okay.
That's it. But, I was living in Guadalajara, and I had no expat friends. I just only had Mexican friends.
Wow. Okay.
And so I had to learn it. So I forced myself to even shopping lists to make them in Spanish. And I would force myself to ask them, oh, ¿dónde están los chicharros? Exactly. That's exactly what they did. Because they would correct me and they would say, no, it's chicharros. And but that's how I learned.
I love the way the way you sound, you pronounce Guadalajara. You kind of put that emphasis to the Spanish sound. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's excellent. Okay.
So, but that's how I learned Spanish,
All
and
right.
I forced myself to read in the newspaper, and you just have to be brave.
All right, cool, excellent. Yeah. Well, that's a funny story because when I moved to the States when I was 17 years old, I was just telling Tim, it kind of happened the same thing. We didn't have internet. We had those really cheap, learning lessons in a VCR. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. And cassette tapes.
And cassette tapes, right? So I had an aunt. She had one, put there somewhere, and she said, "Oh well, I have this special classes on VHS or whatever." So she gave it to me. I started to watch. But I was in the States, so you kind of don't have any options, if you don't learn the language, you can do nothing, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to work, and I wanted to, I needed to learn, And it was kind of your same story. I went for the side of not being with Mexicans, but more I used to hang out with Americans.
Uh-huh.
So that kind of pushed me into it, and that was long story short. And now I have this crappy English.
No, your
Well,
English is excellent.
yeah, no, thank you, I appreciate it. I've been here for 5 years, and when I go back to visit my family in Indiana, they always say, "Oh my God, your English is deteriorating a little bit." I'm like, really? I'm like, God. Or is it that, or is the accent? I said, no, I think it's the accent that makes it, like that. So, it's good to have friends here. I live in Ajijic, and he lives here in Chapala. So, I mean, it's really nice to have friends who I can, still, learn, practice my English and everything. And I always tell them, you can correct me, sir. And the same thing when people speak Spanish, I try to, to help. But, long story short, we have Tim, and he has a really happy face. It looks like you have a good life.
Oh, I've always had a good life.
Excellent.
But it's never been better for the last 25 years.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. So basically, the language, the weather, the food. I mean, wow. How long did it take you to get your stomach accustomed to the food over here?
0 time.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I was originally from Wisconsin, from a farm.
Right.
So I've been working with Latinos my whole life.
I see.
So I was raised they were Mexican families. So we had their cooking all the time, and we celebrated all of our holidays together. And so.
All right.
I think I'm half Mexican.
I mean, next time I see Tim, he's gonna have this big mustache, right?
Yeah,
like Pancho Villa, right?
Right, and I will have a sombrero and a bottle of tequila.
There you go. Now we're talking, sir. Anyway, well, that's really nice to hear, though. And okay, so basically, so the weather. What do you think about the weather? I mean, being in Northwest and Northeast, up all the way up there in Chicago. I mean, the weather's so different, right?
Yeah, I never ever imagined living in this type of weather because I love the 4 seasons that you have in the north.
Right.
But after you live here a while, everyone says expats. So I say, oh no, we only have 2 seasons, dry and wet. Right. No. The spring is very specific here. Certain flowers come out.
Right.
And the summers, it rains in the summertime, which is my favorite season. And then in the autumn, you see everything dying. And there's a winter season. So we have 4 seasons. They're just different than the north.
Right.
And so I love the weather.
Good.
I've seen it change over the last 25 years quite a bit, where it's a little bit warmer than it used to be.
Right.
Definitely hotter.
Right.
But it's nicer at Lakeside. It's warmer in Guadalajara.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's everything is all the temperatures are a little bit lower down here. And the breeze from the lake.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we don't lose that weather anytime soon.
Yeah, I hope not.
All right. Well, we were talking about people moving here to the area in the Ribera over here, Chapala. And we're talking about how big the place is, and many people don't realize, but we have, Chapala is like the mainstream, where everybody comes and, they know this place. But we have so many different towns around the lake and many places where people don't realize, but they're so peaceful. And they have a low crime and things like that. So many people just come here. They stay in the Ajijic area, Chapala. Because there's so many foreigners, but definitely he's been in other towns. You were telling me that you've been to
Jocotepec and Salamanca.
All right.
And there are even some other towns east of me.
Okay.
Tlachichilco and
I cannot even pronounce that. You're getting good, man.
and these are all places that expats live.
Right, there's just less. Right?
Less
for
of
the
them.
moment.
The farther you get from Chapala and Ajijic, it's less. But you can always, it depends on what you're coming here for. Right. If you're coming here to blend into the community, then you should really think about going to those places like Jocotepec, Tlachichilco, Salamanca, because you can do that. You can also find an expat community but they're wonderful. All the
All
towns
right.
are just wonderful
Right.
and safe.
Right.
You know,
For
I
the most
felt
part, right?
I've never felt, you know, despite what you read in the or see in the news, I feel safer here than I ever did in the United States.
I see.
Mhm.
Yeah, like when I used to live in Las Vegas, I mean, it was like literally every day there was in the news somebody I mean, it was like 7 a.m. and somebody was found dead in
Yeah.
East Las Vegas. You know, I mean, it
Exactly.
was ridiculous. I was like, every day there's somebody dead. Like,
Oh,
on
you
the
should live in
streets.
Chicago where it's
Oh
10,
yeah, it's
10
so
people
much
every day.
Right. Oh my God, yeah, yeah. Chicago is such a huge city. Okay, well, I mean, it's relatively safe. We have a great weather and everything. So, what do you think about the way Mexicans treat you in particular with you in
Okay.
your situation?
I think that the Mexican community is very generous, especially, you know, I've lived in two different environments. First, I lived in Guadalajara, where I was not part of for 20 years, not part of an expat community at all, and I just was always welcomed in. Yeah, I can speak English. Welcomed in to everyone's home.
Okay.
And you learn that you cannot say no. You have to go. You have to eat.
Right.
You have to
I know,
drink.
right? Once you go in there,
yeah. Otherwise, don't bother showing up again. But the same thing here at Lakeside. I find this is where I mean that Mexicans are very generous, because there are a lot of expats, and so the people that are from here, that their parents and their grandparents, so forth, are from here, their life has changed a lot, becoming a very, very big tourist area and an expat area. So they're very generous because they're still there with open arms,
right,
and willing to help. And so I find it all a positive experience.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed when I first moved here, I was impressed how, like, literally a construction worker, a cleaning maid, they know English. I mean, the basic. I was like, wow.
No,
they mesh pretty well, so far.
And that's actually for a lot of expats here.
Right.
That's a big problem, that they speak English, because it's really difficult a lot of times for an expat to learn Spanish.
Right.
Because all these wonderfully intelligent Mexicans speak two languages here.
Right.
And they're very gracious, and they put the menus in English. They put the waiters are in English.
Right.
The service people, everybody's just
advertising. I see on the streets, there's like, I would say 30-40% of the advertisements are in English, so there's a translation, right? I mean, it's crazy.
So it's again, that's graciousness, that they're being very gracious and offering this, so that's my opinion about what it's like to co-live with the two communities.
Excellent. Yeah. So basically, the recipe, if you guys want to learn Spanish or any other language for that matter, is don't go to your community of expats. You're not going to learn it there. Right. Go and throw yourself in the fire with all the natives that live wherever you're going, and that's how you learn, right?
It's true. And you have to be brave.
Yes.
I read this on Facebook. It was, but it was a little meme, and it said, when I hear an accent, I'm impressed, because I know that English isn't their first language.
Right.
And so when people hear my accent, they should be happy, because they know that Spanish is not my first language.
Exactly.
So people are impressed. They don't have to be, and they'll figure out what you're saying.
Right.
And then every time it gets better.
Oh my goodness. Well, so, we want to thank you, Tim, for showing us your house. It has a really beautiful home, nice pets. You have just the one dog?
Yeah, I just have one dog.